bien! My mommy says I'm really strong! You hear me? I take guys like you and eat them for breakfast! Telling you my sin! Yeah! Never say die, gotta go!
Oh boy, everybody, I really hope you don't get mad at me for this one, because just like in the Season 1 GX Dynasty series, when I made Damon's deck basically from scratch because most of his cards did not exist in the game, I saw Mad Dog. He is one of the funniest characters I've ever seen in the dub compared to the sub. They made him a joke, and it was a good one, okay? It was funny. I don't care what anybody says. I laughed as a kid, and honestly, it was nice levity compared to what happened to Zane, because Zane, it was his first underground duel. So basically, Mad Dog is a character that dueled Zane in the underground. His first underground duel, where he's like, "Hey, guess what? We get shocked. We literally wear shock collars that are strong enough to knock you the fuck out." And I'm gonna have this silly ass child voice and say these stupid lines that are super funny. And it was great. It was great. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna tell my mommy on you." It's so freaking funny. But in the show, Mad Dog uses a deck that does not exist. There are a bunch of cards that just do not exist. Therefore, because his cards were based around slimes in the show, I decided to give him a deck based around slimy monsters or, you know, jammy monsters, anything like that. So an aqua deck basically. And you know what works for an aqua deck? You got yourself Octoberser, the terrible tribute monster, Humanoid Slimes, which makes sense, Gruesome Goos makes sense, Liquid Beast makes sense, Chain Slimes makes sense, Aqua Spirits, that helps with the aqua, Revival Jams make a lot of sense, King of the Swamps, look at, they're all gooey, makes sense. He does run Card of Destruction in the show, that's why he gets 3. He does get 3 Pot of Greeds because I felt super bad after making this deck. He has triple Polymerization to make his Humanoid Slime fuse with his King of the Swamp to make his boss monster, the Humanoid Worm Drake, just like Strings, except Strings at least had Slifer. And, you know, he's got himself DNA Surgery to turn other people into aqua monsters, Jam Breeding Machine to make sure he always has a monster, Jam Defender to have the stall work, and Metal Reflect Slime, probably the best card in his entire deck. Not even joking, this is probably the best card in his entire deck that I decided to give him. That might help him stall just a little bit at least, but who knows. Overall, Mad Dog is an extremely funny joke character, and I love that Zane's introduction to underground dueling was this buff as shit guy that just sounds like a child and acts like a child. It's very funny. So, looking at his deck in the show, it's just a bunch of acid cards meant to burn your opponent so they get shocked and get scared. A bunch of slime cards, I should say. And they get scared and they crack under the pressure. Here, he doesn't have that. That's just not what he has. He just has slimes and jam monsters, which just happen to work. Polymerization for his boss monster, Humanoid Worm Drake. Overall, looking at his stats, let's put that on the screen. Ew, yeah, okay, so this guy's a weird one. This guy's a real weird one. We're gonna say, we're gonna start with his attack stat. It's far below average. It's easily far below average. It's like right there. Below average would be the second ring, and far below average is the first ring. So I guess he's just barely above the first ring. That's in the far below average zone. So it's just terrible. And it makes sense why, because his best beater monster is Aqua Spirit and Octoberser, a tribute monster. Revival Jam is one of his better beater monsters, and the rest are crap. Humanoid Worm Drake is his strongest card at 2200 attack. That is pitiful, but it's kind of funny at the same time. Now we can move on to his speed stat, which is actually not bad. His deck has some speed because he's got triple Pot of Greed, which gives you a huge speed boost. He's got triple Card Destruction, which gives him a huge speed boost, and that goes into skill as well. He's got Metal Reflect Slime, which gives him a speed boost, and he's got triple Revival Jam, which gives him a speed boost. He's got triple King of the Swamp, which gives him a speed boost. He has Jam Breeding Machine, which counts as a speed boost. He has fast cards here. Fusion counts as a speed boost, so he's got 3 fusions. There you go. Overall, he's a fast boy. He is a fast boy. Problem, just because you're fast doesn't mean you could do anything with it. Like, you could be the fastest guy on Earth, but if you run into a brick wall, you're done. Anyone with some decent defense can hold you back and you lose. But that's when he has his other strategy for victory, which is where we go into the skill stat. He doesn't really run a burn deck. He doesn't really run anything like that. But the reason his skill stat is so high is because he does have stall options. Revival Jam with Jam Defender, Metal Reflect Slime, all of that can be counted as stall. Jam Breeding Machine, if you need a monster guarantee because you keep bricking, which sadly that's not one of his problems, you can stall. DNA Surgery can work as a stall card in this case because it might slow down your opponent from using certain fusions and stuff. That helps. The biggest card that helps out is his deck out card, Card Destruction. If your opponent keeps a heavy hand, you can just triple pot agree to help you get some of these card destructions and card destruction your opponent's hand. As long as you have less cards in your hand than your opponent does in theirs, they're the one that's going to deck out first, and you could stall for victory with Metal Reflect Slime and Revival Jam. Card destruction has a chance of throwing away their best cards, which means if they lose their best cards, they can't beat your best 3,000 defense point monster, they lose. So, not bad. And they can't be Revival Gem as long as you have life points left. So, Deck Out is actually a totally viable option for Mad Dog. Interesting, but not gonna work too often. Most people that just have really good attack will overpower him. But that's when we get into his defense stat, which sadly I have to say it's below average just because of how averages work here. The reason it's below average, even though he has double Metal Reflex Slime, which is incredible, super incredible, and he's got triple Humanoid Worm Slime. Incredible. Octoberser, terrible. Gruesome Goo, I'm just going to say everything else, terrible, unusable. He's got 5 cards that can really work with defense that get his points up. 2 of them, though, you don't have to kill by attack. They can be MST'd. Just about everybody has MST. Even Mad Dog has MST in this game. Therefore, they're not as safe as defensive monsters. So he only gets almost an average defense stat, but it's way better than his attack stat. We go to move into the luck stat. He's not lucky. There's nothing about luck in his deck. Not really. Card Destruction technically can have some little luck stat to it, but not really. Brick stat, though, that's where Mad Dog gets interesting. Mad Dog is just about unbrickable. I don't know how you brick him. This is like his only real brick card. This card can accidentally brick you if you use it incorrectly. DNA Surgery is not a brick. Jam Defenders can be a brick, because once you get one, as long as you can keep one on the field, you don't really need the others. Metal Reflex Slime is definitely not a brick. The Polymerizations can count as a brick, though. So, Poly, Octoberser, too many Jam Defenders. That's why he doesn't exactly touch the end. It looks like he does. He's so close. He's almost unbrickable, but he's just not quite there. Mad Dog, overall, looking at his deck, is kind of like Belowski from last season. He's a joke character. I had to make up his deck like Damon from last season, and honestly, I love what I made. It's super funny in my mind, and I hope you all can understand that I would take comedy over a good deck any day of the week, but I can't see this deck ever winning the tournament. But I can see people really liking Mad Dog if you actually watch the dub like I did way back when. So, maybe somebody will want to play this deck, and maybe somebody will fill in the shoes for Mad Dog. And if you do, here you are. This is the deck you're going to be using. And honestly, there are ways to win with this deck, but because they're so unlikely, I'm going to have to give this deck 1 star. I was going to go lower, but I'm going to give him a break. I'm going to say 1 star. It has no chance of winning the tournament. It has maybe the smallest of chances of winning 1 duel. At best, if they get a really lucky opponent that they're a horrible opponent. Overall, I would say Mad Dog is screwed. And that's completely fine with me because he gets completely screwed in the show too. So it works. It totally works. I'll see you all next time. If you can, please remember to like and subscribe. We're trying to reach that 15K subscriber mark. I hope you guys are excited for the series. Those of you that want to join the subscriber series, don't be afraid to follow or to join us on Discord in the description down below. And I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.